Although they have returned in Civ 7, the Empire of Siam had only appeared once in the Civilization series in Civ 5. The only leader to represent Siam has been Ramkhamhaeng, who ruled what became Siam during the time of the Sukhothai Kingdom. Even now that Siam has returned in Civ 7, there is no specific leader to represent them. Instead, the options presented as historical or geographical unlocks for this modern-age civilization are Ashoka of India, Himiko of Japan, Jose Rizal of the Philippines, a civ that is not even in the game, or Trung Trac of Vietnam. It's a bit strange that Siam, of all empires, should be represented in Civ 7 by a series of outsiders because, famously, unlike their neighbors, they were never colonized by a European power. India, as far east as Myanmar, was colonized by the British, while the French colonized Indochina or much of present-day Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. And although it needed to cede much of its territory from the height of its empire to these colonial powers, the central authority of what is Thailand today never collapsed or capitulated to either the English or the French. I am sad that they are, but for the city-state of Ayutthaya, absent from Civ 6. And overall, I feel that Siam is an unfairly underrepresented civilization in the Civ games. But as I mentioned, they do make a return in Civ 7. They have a very strong, unique ranged unit, the Chang Bun, which is a mounted elephant unit. Their unique infrastructure is the Bang, which provides culture and happiness, but in the lone game I played as Siam in Civ 7, I didn't find it very impactful. Their unique civilian unit, the Uparat, is an alleged great person, but I do find that that title is a misnomer. What I particularly enjoyed about Siam in Civ 7 was their Itsarafab ability that allows them to skip the waiting period and spend influence to immediately become suzerain of an independent power. In Civ 5, which fans of the channel will recall I have little experience with, their unique unit is, once again, a powerful mounted elephant unit. Their unique building is the Wat, which replaces the library and adds culture as well as science. Their unique ability, Father Governs Children, is one that focuses on relationships with city-states, getting food, culture, and faith bonuses from city-states who are friendly with Siam. The only wonder from the Civilization video games that you'll find from Thailand is Doi Suthep. This is where the world of Civ 7 and its design constraints get a bit weird. Civ 7 aimed to pair each Civ with an associated wonder, giving them a bonus to building their wonder in the game. Siam are a modern age Civ with the modern age beginning around 1750 AD. But the Wat built on the Doi Suthep mountaintop was first constructed in the late 14th century. It's also a sacred temple built as a house of worship of Sukhothai or Siamese religious beliefs, but religion virtually disappears in the modern age in Civ 7. Faith is not a currency. Instead, Doi Suthep adds influence along with bonuses to culture and gold for every independent power you are suzerain of. At that point in the game, the bonuses are barely felt, and is a wonder built more for prestige than anything else. But what is Siam, or Thailand, like today? After Nepal, looking to avoid A, needing to return to India, and B, the bureaucratic headaches of entering Bangladesh and Myanmar, my girlfriend and I instead decided to fly to Thailand. Both of us had been a few times, with my last visit happening in early 2020, just a couple of months before that thing we don't talk about. At that time, I remarked on how swiftly it had modernized compared to my first visit back in 2003. Today, Bangkok is full of trendy cafes and bustling shopping malls. There are still some areas that cling to the old street carts and night markets, but every modern convenience is at your fingertips. When I'd visited in the past, I'd also stick to a few areas of Bangkok that I trusted, but the more I visit, I find that just about any area in the city can provide a peaceful and enjoyable experience. And of course, the food is great. Instead of heading to the islands, like we might have done in the past, and like most visitors to Thailand would do, we traveled north by train. We stopped in Ayutthaya to visit its ruins. The town is also really nice, and we stayed at one of the best guest houses I've ever stayed at. From there we went further north to Phitsanulok, then to Lampang, and eventually to Chiang Mai, which is the town you'd need to base yourself in if you wanted to visit Doi Suthep. We were on our way to Laos, so we also visited a town called Udon Thani, which isn't too far from the Thai-Lao border. What we discovered about Thailand is just how rewarding it is to get outside of its major tourism hubs. Bangkok and Chiang Mai are both great places to visit, but just about every town we visited in Thailand was cute, well-maintained, easy to get around, and they always had great night markets with amazing food at affordable prices. Even Udon Thani had an incredible shopping mall nearby with a modern cinema, and we were even at a restaurant where we were served by a robot. Thailand really is a great mix of tradition combined with no fear of jumping into the future. Everything worked. Many people spoke at least a little English, and internet speeds were fast, which we need for our jobs. Thailand, even away from the islands, really is an easy life, which, I guess, is why people have been coming here from all over for decades. As you can imagine, that brings with it its own share of problems. When I was a younger man, and around the time I was first visiting Thailand, there were a few Hollywood movies which painted Thailand in a certain light that wasn't always very positive. For anyone interested, two that specifically come to mind are 2000's The Beach, directed by Danny Boyle, and 1999's Broke Down Palace, starring Claire Danes and Kate Beckinsale. Both of these films show off the dark side of foreigners interacting wittingly or unwittingly with the Thai drug trade. Both are, to put it mildly, cautionary tales of tourism gone wrong. Now, sure, many of the negative aspects of tourism still exist. I was offered drugs a lot. And you can still partake in any vice that might be your pleasure. However, marijuana is now legal. So keep that in mind. But you can even eat at a McDonald's, KFC, TGI Fridays, eat pizza, or have tacos or a plate of spaghetti carbonara. And if you want to feel like you've never left California, you can. Go for it. But personally, Thailand can be so much more, and all of the irritations from a century of over-tourism do seem like a drop in the bucket compared to the positives that Thailand offers. If you want to just be, you can. And you can still do it very affordably. As a bonus to this video, I want to talk about Laos, a nation that has never had any representation in CIV, but for Luang Prabang being included as a cultural independent power in CIV 7. Laos was part of Siam for a little over 100 years and for most of the 19th century. As we traveled, we crossed the border into Vientiane, the capital. Though it is the capital, Vientiane does feel a bit unremarkable. Still, this is the place to come for shopping malls and modern amenities, or if you need to do anything bureaucratic. It was here that we visited the Cope Visitor Center and learned about the devastating impact that cluster bombs have had and continue to have on modern Laos society. Many of these cluster bombs, dropped here during the 1970s, lie undetonated, waiting for an unsuspecting Lao villager to just dig in the wrong place. COPE is the organization responsible for designing artificial limbs to survivors of cluster bomb explosions. It was a sobering visit, to say the least. Luang Prabang is the crown jewel of the country, and most visitors to Laos go here. Sakhalin Road, the city's main avenue, looks like the area surrounding Sacré-Cœur in Paris more than anything else you'll find in most of the country, although it is, admittedly, quite charming. Van Vieng, halfway between Vientiane and Luang Prabang, turned out to be a pleasant surprise. Young travelers seem to love this place, and it's not all that surprising why. The landscape is gorgeous, and there are air balloon rides, hikes, lagoons, zip lines, and paramotor activities of all kinds on offer. Although I'm usually in bed by 9:30, because there are so many young backpackers around, I imagine the nightlife is also quite the draw. But in Van Vieng, we also rented a motorbike for a day and went driving out into the villages. This was my favorite part of our visit to Laos, seeing local life just happen along the roads. Once you head out of Vientiane and get up into the hills, the countryside really is beautiful. Unfortunately, we arrived during the slash and burn season, so the sky was smoky most days. But even in spite of this, the country had a lot of charm. The food is a mix of Thai and Vietnamese, and like those two countries, everything is affordable and delicious. Laos is a small, calm, and charming country that deserves more civ love than it's gotten. I imagine that most people who visit Laos do so from Thailand and regard it as their hidden gem, like one of those travelers' secrets that only those who get it really understand. Travelers often have the bad habit of becoming pretentious, like they've honed the craft a little more perfectly than anyone else. And I think if you asked anyone of that ilk what's in their top 5, almost because of its obscurity and because of how little it's visited when compared to its neighbors, they'll invariably include it in their list. So those are my thoughts on Siam and CIV. But what do you think? Has Siam had adequate representation in the CIV series? Have you ever been to Thailand or Laos, or both? And if so, what did you think? Let me know in the comments. Also, I wanted to just make a quick plug for my book to all those who love travel, or maybe those who prefer to travel from the comfort of their own home. I'll leave a link to the book in the description. There's even a chapter in there about my short visit in 2020 and the day I spent at Dong Mueang Airport. Thanks a lot for watching, and remember to occasionally stop playing and make your own story, your own amazing path through history, and I'll see you next time.